Hey, lovers and leaders fam. You are welcome to another mini recap of the Real Housewives of Orange County. This is going to be another short one for the OC. I have to say, for this particular episode, I would give it like a solid 8. There was a lot going on, keeping me engaged, but it just felt like draining. So here are the highlights, okay? The whole two group, girls' mini vacations happening. You got a sleepover slumber party at Heather's penthouse suite, which looks absolutely amazing and fabulous, okay, for real. Customized bed for Emily and Gretchen, customized pajamas, the whole like lovely white, transparent type camping covering over the bed. Heather, you did that for real. Even Emily was like, listen, her kids had a sleepover at her house, and after Heather's sleepover, she feels like a bad mom. Well, there goes Emily, always trying to compare herself to everybody else. Esteem of it all. I don't know. Get it together, Emily. But anywho, then you've still got the girls at the other place. What's it? Temecula, yeah, Temecula, California. The girls are still at some huge like mansion that good old sis Tamara has initiated to really just get close with, you know, Shannon again. So over at the Heather's sleepover, we catch them in the restaurant. Heather's still talking about how Tamra reminds her of her dad. Okay, this is Tamara, her closest friend, I would say, the one that she's always like sticking up for, always trying to, have her back. She does admit she gets scared of Tamra because Heather even said to Emily and Gretchen at dinner that she's actually told um, Tamra before that, she reminds her of Heather's dad. So Heather proceeds to tell the ladies that, you know, the dad often had like some outbursts out in the public, and I'm sure that was like a safety issue for Heather as a kid, really affecting the nervous system and having that type of anxiety, right? So she describes her dad as being very volatile and not really having empathy of how his family feels, especially her feels as a daughter when he's having that meltdown. And she, likened it with Tamara, whereby, Tamara has like these outbursts, all right? And Heather tries to have her back, but it's like, I think it just brings her into this like PTSD. And anyway, I like how Gretchen clocked it that Gretchen says, after Heather says something along the lines of, um, this is why she thinks she gives Tamara some grace because Tamara does remind her of the dad. And then Gretchen says, in situations like this, you're basically, I'm paraphrasing, but her past trauma with her father, who unfortunately has passed away recently, it's almost like Heather's wants to be close with Tamara to, as Gretchen says, hopefully um, have a different experience pretty much. And that she finds, Gretchen actually says that Heather Heather's probably unconsciously trying to find some healing in this relationship, even though it's kind of toxic, with Tamra, with the hope that Tamra responds differently than Heather's dad did. Now, how often does that happen that, unaddressed trauma, and Heather did say that she hasn't really addressed these issues with her dad, even though her dad is passed. But I do believe, Heather, you need some therapy with this. I know you're like the strong one, always kind of got it together, always everything's okay. But, if you're not careful, it's just going to blow up one day. Or it's in these situations like engaging in these toxic friendship with Tamra. How is it that many times, I'm sure many of you experience like myself, unaddressed relationship issues, you end up somehow randomly attracting that toxic personality in somebody else, right? It could be someone in the workplace, that reminds you of somebody, even from your childhood or someone else. It could be a friend, right? And you're still like entertaining that connection. Why? I actually like what Gretchen said. There's something about you trying to resolve um, a past issue, most likely is always a childhood trauma, in the present toxic connection, relationship, right? But this is what I will say. There is no healing that comes about when you know somebody in your life that you presently have a relationship with has toxic characteristics like somebody from your past. You can't find your healing there, nor can you have expectations that this person is going to help heal you or respond differently. Why? Here it goes. Because in the past relationship that you had that was very toxic that you haven't gotten over yet, just like Heather having some childhood wounds that she's talking about, were you able to fix the person that caused you pain in the past? I'll wait. Were you able to fix that? Were you able to get healing from that? So if it's a no, therefore, life is telling you again, you can't fix it, the issue, by staying in this current toxic situation. You can't get your healing from a toxic person. You need to find Jesus, okay? Get into the word, all right? Figure out who you really are and get some healing from his words and some therapy, all right? And some talk therapy. You need some counseling. Air it out, all right? So anyway, moving on, all right? What other things, some highlights here in this episode? Tamara is just so impatient. I have to tell you, even though she's really trying her own way, her own version of trying to mend things with Shannon, she actually is not a patient friend. She really expects Shannon to just bounce back and forget the past year issues that they had in the past year and just like, melt at Tamara's feet and be like, okay, I appreciate everything you're doing, this Temecula, giving me my, own big bedroom, the master bedroom, and then we can be friends again. Tamara is really having some high expectations. Well, she doesn't go therapy. She needs therapy. So she really just has a short fuse. But like, Shannon's really trying her best, letting her know, listen, this is all I can give you. Thank you for everything you're doing. Okay? But I can't give you more than that. And Tamara has such a big ego. She truly cannot handle this in this episode. But anyway, you've got the other girls there. Why am I forgetting their names now? In the background at this Temecula girls trip, trying to be like the voice of reason, just trying to like help Tamara and Shannon move forward in their healing, but it's not really working. It really isn't working. Okay, Jen, I'm remembering. Yeah, Jen is such a sweetheart, and she really does have Shannon's back. I definitely tell you. What else happens in this episode? You've got Gina. Oh, Gina, I'm remembering your name now. Gina. She's a sweetheart too. Gina and Jen are kind of like the middle, trying to be the calming factor in this Temecula trip. So that's really good. But Gina talks about her, struggles in her home life, with her current boyfriend. He's trying to get a divorce, but he's hopefully soon to be ex is just trying to create so much resistance, right? And Gina's talking about how lovely, Travis is her man, how lovely Travis is really lovely to the kids. She just can't understand why the ex is making things difficult. Well, hey Gina, you've also been through a divorce, okay? All right, you've also been through a divorce. Luckily, you have some good co-parenting situation with your ex, but you don't know what that, soon to be ex of Travis actually went through with Travis. He might now look like the perfect man, but at some point he was the perfect man for the soon to be ex, okay? So I know, Gina, you're going through a lot, but like, you're going to have to really somehow put your feet in that woman's shoes and understand that she's going through some pain herself, all right? And she's bleeding out emotionally. So you're going to have to be patient, even though I know you want to get this all done with. But like, yeah, no woman wants to get married and then have a divorce. So there was a reason for the divorce. So let that woman grieve, all right? You've made the decision to be in that relationship with Travis. So that woman has to have time to grieve it out and then release Travis, okay? Anyway, we see that after the dinner with the three amigos, Heather, Emily, and Gretchen, they go for like some happy hour after party to a place called Abbey. I mean, you get some naked people at that place, or half naked guys. So that was kind of interesting. Anyway, the girls are having a really good time. You're seeing Emily in her short mini leather skirt jumping on some dude, dancing with him. I wonder what her hubby would say if he saw that. But like Gretchen said, I mean, she's having a really good time and milking that time with that dancer. Anyway, they had a good time at the Abbey, and then they come home. The three amigos, I call them the three amigos right now. They come back to Heather's amazing slumber party of it all, and they get to talking, as you know girls will do at slumber party. They get talking, and Gretchen is tipsy drunk, okay, and she gets to open up about well, before the slumber party, in the car ride, she gets to open up with the girls saying that Tamara did a recording of a song, right, at some point in time. And then there was like this other recording of her making out with a dude while she was still married, allegedly. Allegedly. So they get back to Heather's home, and Emily, always so nosy, always trying to move the story along in these episodes, she asks Gretchen, in her drunken state, to hear the audio of Tamara singing and an audio of Tamara allegedly making out with somebody else, right? So Gretchen finally finds her phone, because she was looking for it for a long time. Calls Slade. And Slade was just happy to tell Emily pretty much that, yeah, there's an alleged audio of Tamara making out with somebody while she was still married. Okay? So they didn't hear the audio of Tamara singing, nor did they hear the other audio. All right? And during the slumber party, especially in the morning, they have a nice massage that was really nice, a nice breakfast, really beautiful. I'm going to talk about the breakfast part in a minute. But yeah, not Tamara. Gretchen's making it very clear to Emily during the massage that please do not tell Tamara about the discussion about the audios, right? And I'm thinking, like, Heather, you're on national TV. First of all, Tamara's gonna know. You already know what you're doing by, expressing to the girls that allegedly there's an audio out there with Tamara making out with another girl. Making out with a guy while she was married. So then Emily was like, you're trying to make me and Heather look like the bad guys here. You're the one that told us this. We didn't tell you to tell us. And Emily proceeds to say that, Gretchen, you're pretty much the same as Tamara, right? You've got Tamara allegedly exposing, saying that Gretchen had an affair, and then Gretchen doing the same thing. And in Gretchen's confession was like, well, I guess it looks like that we're the same, but we're not the same. We're not the same. But then Gretchen did say in her confessional, she gives the same energy that Tamara gives her. So Gretchen, that equals the same. That's the same. That means the same. If you say that you give Tamara the same energy that she gives you, and you just somehow want to just drop with the ladies that there's some alleged audio out there with her making out, having an affair while she's still married, yeah, you're the same. Yes, you're the same. Anyway, moving on. During the breakfast with Heather and Gretchen and Emily, Emily's so messy and so nosy. Jesus, honestly. She then asked Gretchen. It comes up because Gretchen is just talking about life and Slade, and then Gretchen saying that Gretchen, when do you think you'll ever get married? I thought they were married. Come to find out, they've been together for 16 years, but they're not officially like legally married. Um, Gretchen does let us know that they had like a ceremony wedding with an ordained pastor, but there's no, legal contract, no sign off. And the ladies proceed to ask her, like, so how's the money um, kind of like divided in the house? Because Gretchen talks about the reason why she doesn't have a legal contract in marriage is because she wants to own her own money. Okay, she wants to own her own money and she doesn't want to mix it. So Gretchen said, like, she owns her own home, her name's on the home, she pays for the bills, well, she pays for the, I guess, the mortgage on her home. Then Emily's like, well, then does Slade pay like rent, like contribute? Gretchen didn't like that at all. She's getting very uncomfortable. She's like, like, why are you guys asking me all these questions, right? And then Heather's like, okay, so do you pay like, the other bills? And Gretchen's like, yeah, it comes out from my account. So basically, it appears to allegedly that Gretchen pays for the majority of what happens in that home. I don't know what trauma Gretchen's had with money, but she certainly does not trust Slade with her money. Okay, period. Moving on. All right, but they do have a beautiful daughter together, Slade and Gretchen. Very beautiful daughter. All right, the slumber party sleepover at Temecula with the other ladies. It's kind of drip and drab, boring. I mean, they have like a jacuzzi conversation. Gina is going in again about being so worried about Shannon because, she just experienced her ex-husband having like a heart attack. And she's so worried about Shannon again drinking. I thought Shannon already cleared this up with them in the dinner. I swear they have nothing else to talk about, these girls, besides Shannon. Shannon, I would love you to like take time out one of these seasons and let's see what they have to talk about, because it's always about you. Anyway, I'm just gonna fast forward this to Temecula girls. There was, breakfast time. Shannon does a beautiful breakfast for them, and they love the breakfast. And somehow again, Jen, talks about how she's worried about Shannon, okay, being alone in the house. And Shannon's like, she's fine. She plays games like puzzles and she talks to her dog. But again, they're concerned for Shannon. And then the conversation goes to Shannon. I think it was Tamara asking, so Shannon, you still doing therapy? And Shannon's like, yeah, a few days a week. All right. And then Tamara again is prodding, mind you. Shannon is Tamara, as far as we know, hasn't done therapy and she needs therapy. Shannon and Tamara's like prodding questions about Shannon, like, okay, basically starting to get Shannon to talk about her dad, issues in Shannon's childhood. And this is information that Tamara already knew when her and Shannon were very close. They shared information together. FYI, be careful what you share with your friends because it might come out again, like Tamara was doing in this episode. So Shannon starts crying and says, "Yeah, like in her childhood, she was brought up in a very tumultuous, family. The mother told her that she wanted to divorce the dad, and the dad, because I think the dad was drinking a lot. Yeah, the dad was drinking a lot." And then Tamara's kind of prodding on that, about the dad drinking, allegedly, probably, like Jen said, trying to connect the dots for people like, okay, Shannon is having some alcohol issues and she got it from the dad. Shannon like clocked that and let Tamra know, like, no, don't go any further there. Like, don't talk about my dad. He's 90 something years old. Don't disrespect him because he's not like that anymore, right? So Tamara gets up huff and a puff because she's like, basically like, she's trying to, in her mind, trying to help Shannon. But Shannon's like to the girls, how is she trying to help me? She doesn't go to therapy. And I agree with Shannon, you know? So then Tamara goes back in the house, huffing and puffing. And basically, the words that she's using to describe Shannon, by herself in her monologue is, again, giving me the energy of why Shannon doesn't want to be friends with you, Tamara. You are not a friend to Shannon. You're literally in your little monologue, huffing and puffing back in the house because your contributions was not received by Shannon. You're talking about like nasty words. You're saying nasty things about her again. Why should she be your friend? You have no patience, Tamra. You always want things when you want things. You're giving me like abandonment wounds, rejection wounds as well. You also need to be in the same therapy session with Shannon. Yes, thank you and please. All right. And pretty much, ladies and gentlemen, it ends with these girls at Temecula. All right. It's kind of awkward. Gina's already over it. She's kind of like, all right, I guess we'll just wrap up kind of thing. But Jen's like, no, let's not leave things awkward. But Gina's like, listen, these two, meaning Tamara and Shannon, they're still working out the kinks in their friendship, and it's gonna take a while. If these wounds, it's messy. Let's be honest. Heartbreak, disappointment, it's messy. And when you got one friend trying but still impatient, and the other friend is trying to create those emotional, healthy wounds and not being respected by the other person, Tamara, yeah, it gets messy. Anyway, Gina just has a moment of like laughter and just like, listen, these girls are in their 60s and they basically, she says, they need to get together. And I agree. Like they're 60s and acting like little girls. We don't have time for this. All these, most of these Real Housewives, and especially these on this show, we've got Heather, unresolved issues. We've got Shannon. We've got Tamara. You all need some therapy. All right, maybe bring somebody, a therapist on the show to just have like a group session. I mean, some of these Real Housewives, some of these reality shows have done that before, and I think it could be enlightening. These girls on this OC, for real, need it, okay? Maybe we can get some healthy connections, healthy relationships, healthy friendships going on. Until next time, people out there in the YouTube world, all right? Let me know what you thought about this OC. Let me know, what you thought about some of the comments I've made. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Before you go out, remember to give a girl a thumbs up. Until next time, stay blessed and stay healed. Bye.